2, 1, this hangout. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Chattering with Nicholas Vince. And today I'm going to be chattering with Pablo Absento. Sorry, I even got your name wrong.
Good job.
Good morning. So it's good evening for you because you're in Japan.
Yeah, that's good evening for me because it's 8 p.m. in Tokyo.
Oh, in Tokyo. Cool. All right. So before I start chatting with Pablo, I just wanted to do a couple of things. Firstly, thank Don Pettit, who's supporting the show today, and he's going to be monitoring any comments on Google. As usual, you can tweet any questions with the hashtag ChatteringNick. There's also I should remind you about the Facebook group, Chattering with Nicholas Vince. If you'd like to search that out and join the cool folks who support this show, who are officially known as Chatterites. Fred Kelly named us all Chatterites, and I think that's very good. Yeah, do please check that out. And again, thanks for everyone who's subscribed to the channel. It does mean a lot. And just to let you know that in March, I'm going to be chatting with Paddy Murphy, director of Retribution, the Cheese Box, and all sorts of other things, and Anna and Mike from Maiko Entertainment. So I'll put all the dates up in the usual way. All that's out of the way. Pablo, again, welcome to the show. So we were just saying earlier on, Pablo is an unusual name for a girl. So how did that come about?
Actually, that's the middle name.
Okay.
But everybody has always called me Pablo. That's why it's just stuck, and here we go. Yeah. But I think the history it goes deeper. When my mother, she really likes, and she really used to like Pablo Picasso, and she just didn't know where to place this and how to express herself. So probably that's the option. Yeah, that was a good option, I think.
It's a great option. It's a great name. And so, as you say, you're in Tokyo.
Yes, I'm in Tokyo for actually about 6 years already.
6 years already. So what took you to Tokyo?
There are several reasons. First of all, I was tired of Europe. As you know, England, where I was born, actually, well, climate is bad, let's say so. It's really depressing. I mean, the climate affects on people, and it's sometimes really difficult to make people go out with you. Come on, let's go to the pub. I'm okay here at home. I'll prefer watch football. Just leave me alone, please. Yeah, so everything like this, including my classmates, and that's enough. While I'm young, I want to try to live in another country. So that's how I ended up in Japan, because I like Japan a lot. Climate is much better here. So it's still like there are 4 seasons, but it's much more friendly. So food is delicious, and well, a lot of things. People are friendly and polite also. And it's very, very interesting, because before coming here for permanent staying, I mean, I visited it here for a couple of times. So I knew what I was going to. So yeah.
It's absolutely fascinating. So Japan's an absolutely fascinating country as far as I'm concerned. You have the beautiful cherry blossom in spring, you have the snow in the mountains. It's very much, I mean, my understanding of Japan, I've never really visited, but you've got a lot of the population live in cities, is that right?
That's correct. Tokyo is actually, I think, overpopulated. Yeah, then the government has been talking about, oh my God, like the rural area is empty because, well, there are no jobs, and people, of course, they try to find jobs and they keep coming here, but there is no space anymore. That's why flats are so small and tiny. And I remember first time, like when I came here, and it was actually school, and that was kind of house which belonged to the school. And I had one suitcase and one bag, and I was waiting for the guy to meet me at the station. Oh, okay, here you are, like, let's go. And when I entered that flat, I can't even say it's flat, because like, look, I was like, is that it? Like, I was so shocked and surprised, because my bathroom in my house, I mean, like it's about maybe 5 times bigger than the entire flat over there.
Yeah.
It was okay, like just do not like play it cool. Just you're gonna leave here. That was impressive and actually a little bit shock at the same time. But yeah, that's the reality. Everybody knows that space here, well, flats here, houses here are much smaller than in
Yeah.
Europe and in America.
It's very interesting. I think if you look, we have the store Muji over here, and everything is designed for being small. For not taking up a lot of space for packaging and so on. It is really tiny. So you're, forgive me asking, what work do you do over there?
Of course, I do filmmaking freelance.
Right.
Yes, and I do teach English.
Ah,
Like a
okay.
lot of a lot of foreigners do teach English here because, well, everybody wants to speak English here. But
Right.
sometimes, because sometimes in schools, like in school English education, maybe is not that strong. So yeah, that's you
Ah,
can
interesting.
find. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, this is teaching English as a foreign language. That's brilliant. That's absolutely superb. Okay, so coming back to the filmmaking, so you contacted me, and I watched both your films, and I wanted to start with Call My Name. How did that one come about? And both, incidentally, folks, both of these films are online and they're available on YouTube. So why horror to begin with? Actually, what is that something that's always interested you, or?
That's been my main interest since I remember myself.
Right.
Yes, right. So when I was little, my favorite fairy tale was Grimm Brothers' Godfather Death. And
Right.
my grandmother and my parents in particular, they couldn't understand why. Why are you so interested in this? This is scary. Like children, they're supposed to be, something like Pinky and everything. But no, I've been really fascinated and interested in different kind of folklore. And if you know, like Celtic folklore, for example, I don't know, Scandinavian folklore, it contains so many dark stories. And it was really, really interesting. I just couldn't stop reading that. And filmmaking, well, I was considering something like, okay, what should I do? Maybe it's this or that, but then why don't I do something that I'm really good at,
Uh-huh.
something that I'm really interested in? This is how it happened.
I
Because
see.
before I used to work for TV, and I used to make programs and small documentaries, but never fiction films. So Call My Name is my first fiction film.
I see. I see. And obviously, you 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 have this interest in horror. There's a question from Joe that came in. What movies did you watch growing up, and who would you say inspires you in filmmaking now?
Oh, that's an easy and difficult question at the same time, I can say, because actually every movie is inspiring this
Right.
way or another. Even if it's a bad movie, you can always find something good. I remember that something that impressed me really, really much when I was little, I watched The Thing by John Carpenter,
Uh-huh.
and it was like, oh. So I was crying. I don't know why. I wasn't scared, but I was crying after watching that, and I couldn't understand why. But now, later on, I maybe understand that the reason was that actually humans are so fragile, and sometimes there is nothing we can do. There is something more powerful because, well, people think like we are the most powerful creatures here in the whole universe. But when you face something like this, that shows you that sometimes there is nothing you can do. So it shows people their place in this world, I mean, in this reality.
I'm with
So,
you.
yeah, that impressed me a lot. And actually, if we speak horror or sci-fi, of course,
Mhm.
I prefer horrors like mystery. I'm not. I like sci-fi. I'm not such a big fan of that. But that film, The Thing, oh, even now, I think it's like 1982.
Mhm.
Even if you watch it now, it's so great. So, yeah.
It's always because it's based on a 1950. I did a show last year about original versus remake on The Thing, based on the comparing the original black and white version of The Thing, and of course they've now done a prequel. That's a whole
Yeah,
other
I've seen
story.
that.
Yeah. Have you seen the YouTube where they showed the original practical effects that they were going to do on the most recent version?
The
If
most recent, you mean the prequel?
Yeah, the prequel. Because of course
I
it's
don't think so.
okay. Well, it's because of course I think one of the real weaknesses of the prequel is the story on the way it's done. It's there's lots of things wrong with that movie. The CGI is one of the things you're just like, oh really? Why? They actually did do practical effects, and if you look at it is amazing the difference you get between practical effects and CGI. There is just so much more emotional stuff going on, I think, with the practical effects rather than the CGI in that movie. So if you track it down, it's really worth a look, just to see what they did.
I
Do
will
you?
check it out definitely.
And the second part to Joe's question was, do you have any particular favorite or influences you can identify for filmmakers now?
Directors, filmmakers.
Filmmaker, yeah.
Uh, I like. There are a lot of names, and it's a really difficult question.
Mm.
When people ask you, "What's your favorite horror film?" Well, I have tons of favorite horror films. So it's the same about directors. Something I like about uh, Akira Kurosawa. Something I like
Mm.
about Tarkovsky. Something I like about David Lynch. Something I like about David Fincher, Guillermo del Toro. I can go on and on and on. Every single person, every single filmmaker is really an inspiration. I can say so.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Because at the same time, I don't want to copycat anyone, because I'm pretty much on the nose about originality. And I remember when I was talking to my assistant, Shinosuke Hobo, he's Japanese guy, and like, you need to be original. Yes, I want to be original. You have to forget about everything. Forget everything. Just forget everything and focus on your own style. That was actually like a crazy advice, but there is a little sense in that. So nobody is interested to watch something that they have seen already. Again,
mm.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
People want new ideas, original styles. So, of course, there is a lot of influence, there is a lot of inspiration, but still,
Yep.
little by little, you have to put it in something your own.
And I think nobody was actually born into a vacuum and grew up without any stories, without the things like the Grimm's fairy tales and so on. Obviously, we're all going to be influenced by something. It's the soil in which your creativity grows. I think in order to make movies, you have to watch movies. You've got to learn the techniques and the craft and so on. So I think it is a kind of interesting thing. You want to be original. Naturally, you're going to be influenced by things. You can't escape it, can you?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. What is more, it's not only about watching films, it's about listening to the conversations, observing people all around you. That's about how the story comes up
Yeah.
together.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, because I was at a friend's birthday party the other day, and was chatting to some people, and we were talking about the strange life I lead, where I go to do conventions and I talk to people at conventions, and they said, how do you just keep it fresh every time? Because surely you've been asked how long does it take to put the makeup on, etc. Again, I think, yeah, but that's the first time that particular person has asked me. And I just love listening to people. Everyone has got a story, you know, and every time you meet a new person, to me, that's really exciting because they're going to have a story that you can't possibly have known about. You know, they're going to have an experience you cannot have had, and their view of the world and even their view of something that you believe in passionately about, or, you know, maybe absolutely convinced about, can change you, can make you just look at something very differently. So yeah, no, there's always stuff that you can learn. Okay, so there's an interesting piece of advice that you've been given, and I'm just going to come back to Call My Name for just a moment because I have a question come in from Don, funnily enough, and it was a question I was thinking of asking. With the film Call My Name, I was wondering about the ending. It wasn't subtitled in English. I caught bits and pieces that I recognized because Don has an understanding of Japanese, but I was wondering if there is a transcription. So, because obviously in Call My Name, the version that's on YouTube, the English is subtitled into Japanese, but when it comes to
but you know, like a lot of people get confused, but there are two versions of Call My Name on my channel.
Oh, okay.
There is original version when English speaking people, they speak English and there are no subtitles, but there are English subtitles at the last scene, during the last scene when Japanese agents, they come and talk. So there is version number 1. Version number 2, where English speech is Japanese subtitle. So probably he watched the wrong one. I'm sorry for that. Yeah.
Oh, me too, because I was watching it again this morning and I suddenly thought, oh, I'm sure I didn't spot it. So it is there. If we look hard enough on your YouTube channel, we can find it on your YouTube channel. Okay.
Yeah. How am I supposed to understand that, right?
But again, it's very. I mean, it is very interesting to to watch it because obviously your young male lead, the boyfriend in inverted commas, has got a very thick Japanese accent. So it's sometimes a little difficult to understand what he was saying.
Tensei, yeah.
Yeah.
He speaks good English, but pronunciation is sometimes difficult to understand, especially if you record. But by the way, Tensei, I think he used to live in France for some time, so probably that added something to his language. And Tensei, the boyfriend of the main character, he is the creature in She. This is Tensei Sugahara, and he has many faces. He can be like really.
I had not, from watching, I had not realized made that connection at all. That's very interesting. But it's also, as I say, I watched the version without the English subtitles at the end. It's kind of interesting when you don't know the language to be able to work out what's going on. I remember when I was at drama school, we did a tour of Sweden. And I was taken to see a play, which was a Spanish restoration tragedy, something from the 15th or 16th century, in Swedish. And obviously I spoke no Swedish at all. And I think it was about 2.5 hours long. And I just sat there absolutely enraptured and fascinated by the whole thing, because obviously I didn't understand a word of what was going on. I got a kind of a translation from the lady who was my host at the intervals and so on, saying, "Do you understood that bit?" Saying, "Yeah," because just by watching people, you can really see what's going on and understand what's going on. I like watching subtitled films for that. Because just to see how much you can understand without looking at the subtitles. It's very interesting. We have got a couple of questions come in before we move on to She in just a couple of minutes. And this is from, these are from Hiro Fuji. And his first question is, what's the hardest part to film in Japan except money?
Oh, except money. That's a good no, right. Of course, everything is very expensive. That's first we will talk about money. But everything is very expensive, and sometimes tolls are really discouraging. So just for instance, now I'm planning my new project, and in December, me and 2 more guys, we went on vacation scouting just to take a look at the place. The place is a little bit far, It's in Chichibu, so it's kind of, I don't know, for example, if you compare London and Weybridge, so the same kind of far, yeah,
Yeah.
London and Surrey, yeah. So, and only for that, for location hunting, for location scouting, I spent more than £200.
Wow.
Isn't it crazy? Because we had to rent a car, we had to pay highway, we had to pay petrol, and of course, food for people, you know, everything like this. We spent there 3 hours, and I spent £200.
Wow.
Isn't it expensive? This is really
That
expensive.
that is really, yeah. I can. So how do you hope to finance the future the future project in that case? Are you going to do some crowdfunding to support that?
For the first episode, I have money. Everything is safe, yeah. But of course, I'm looking for sponsors, and we'll see. I consider crowdfunding as well. We'll see how it goes.
Right.
Yes, and regarding the question, except for money, but you can't say except for money, because money is the main problem. Problem number 2 is permissions. You can't shoot here without permissions. For example, when we were shooting before shooting you saw that bridge. Actually, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not Tokyo. It's 3 hours drive from Tokyo. And nobody even lives around. But you have to go to City Hall. You have to go to the police station. You have to go to the fire department, because we use that, you know, like smoke imitation machine, and you have to get the permission from the fire department, because if someone sees there is a smoke, they will call fire station.
Right.
And what are we supposed to do? So we will know, and we will tell people, like, don't worry, this is shooting, something like this. And like 1, 2, 3, and the 4th place is kind of river department. And you have to go there, for example, first time you go there, no, to call is not enough. You have to be there, like, in presence. And you have to ask, please, I need permission. So that's when you go there for the first time. And they say, okay, we will think of that. But to think about that, we will need this and this and that, different kind of documents. We need your ID, we need your script, we need the whole crew list members and everything. Like, we need the angles, like kind of scheme of angles you're going to shoot from. Why do you need
your storyboard or shot list? Yeah.
Right. But why do you need it? It's like, it's not something of your business, right? But not, we need it, please. Like, we want it in 1 week. So the second time you go there with all of those required materials, and they say, okay, everything is good. Yeah, we have this and this and this. So we will think of that. So when will I know if I have permission or not? Come in 1 week. When you come, as this is already the 3rd time you go there. When you're there for the 3rd time, they say, okay, you have permission. Okay, give me my permission. No, that was just the answer. We just respond you. We said yes, but it takes time to get to make the permission. So you have to go there for the 3rd time, and only for the 4th time you are there yourself. No one else can go. You can finally, you have this permission. So everything, and it's four facilities. So
you
4
have the
times,
same process for all the different.
Right. So this is also pretty complicated, especially if you're an independent filmmaker. I don't know, big companies, they have a lot of people. They can send one person there, one person here, and everything is set. But when you are alone, I don't know, when there are no so many people you have, this becomes like this.
That's extraordinary. I recently I shot my film The Night Whispered last year, and we had 2 locations. We had one I was hoping to get, which was on a platform for the tram. That took ages. Came back as being £200 an hour, with a minimum of 2 hours. I was just like, this is literally just for 2 or 3 shots. We'll not bother. I'll work my way around it. Fortunately, there was council land next to this tram station, just a nice little piece of path and so on, and I knew exactly it was definitely council land. We also used a location in a country park, which was also the same council. I literally just had to speak to my producer, Candice, spoke to the council, and a lot of it was done online. I mean, we had to make sure we had insurance. There's public liability, employer's liability. We had to have those in place before we could get the permission. That was a bit of a catch-22.
I hear you totally.
Yeah, but compared to what you were going through, I mean, literally, it was all done over the phone or via email, and they were really good, really supportive. Because in terms of saying, listen,
I know, right? Why isn't it possible to do by emails or phones? Like, we're in this 21st century after all. I mean,
yeah.
What's the problem is?
And it's not like you're going to make any money out of these short films. It's, you know, it's not.
Oh, one more thing. You have to prove that you are not going to make any money. You have to prove that. Or else, no permission.
Oh my goodness.
There is just tiny thing I forgot. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh wow. So that's yeah. So I'm giving up the idea of moving to Japan and making films because that's just.
But before moving to Japan, I didn't know that. But still, even though it's kind of tough and expensive, I don't regret at all, because locations here, they are gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's so worth it. Yes.
Yeah. But I just thinking that was it's interesting. I think we were talking about the smallness of the apartments and so on earlier on, and I think that's very clear in Call My Name, particularly.
Well, in Call My Name, it's a huge apartment.
Really? I would get claustrophobic. I don't know if I could actually enter that. I would literally just get.
That is pretty big, believe me. It's not considered as a tiny apartment. It's a big flat.
Because it's measured. Is it tatami mats? They measure it. You know, the number of tatami mats that you can get in there.
Well, I'm not good at it, so I don't remember. But it's maybe, I don't know, like
something ticking at the back of my mind.
75 square meters, maybe, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. They are not large. I know. It's
but I liked that flat. I liked it a lot because you can breathe there.
Yeah. which is always really useful to be. But as I say, I couldn't deal with it. When we moved into this home, one of the reasons was because we looked at some of these beautiful, and it's like, no, it's just too small for me. I need large rooms in order to be able to.
Well, come on, come visit me here. I will show you what small is. Small is when you enter the flat, and there is just like a short corridor. You make two steps, and then you have to jump to the bed because there is no space for walking.
What?
And the only space you can exist is bed. And that's it. You eat on the bed, you watch TV on the bed. I'm not talking about my particular flat now, but there are a lot of flats like this.
Yes, no, this is probably what I mean. I've seen photographs and so on. You know, it's all, and it's not just single people living in. You know, families will live in not much larger spaces, and so it's quite extraordinary as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, we'll move on to Hiro's second question. What was the most distinctive characteristic part of Japanese legends, myths, and folklore? Sorry, I'm going to rephrase the question.
Yes, please.
What do you think is distinctive about Japanese myths and folklores as opposed to those from Grimm and Europe? So if you were comparing Japanese with European folklores and myths and so on, what do you think the main differences are? What do you think makes Japanese distinctive over others?
Sometimes, yeah, that's a good question. Thank you, Hiro. So there is no so big difference because, you know, people are people travel a lot, things are traveling with people as well. languages travel with people, so does folklore also. And there are a lot of similarities actually between, I don't know, European folklore and Japanese folklore. But what I really like about Japanese folklore, even the cruelest monster, the worst creature ever you've seen in your life on Earth, it didn't used to be like this before. This creature, it has story, and there is a very good lesson to learn why this became like this. It was
Right.
wronged before, or it, I don't know, it was betrayed, or something happened, something really horrible happened, and now we have to pay back because, well, you have to always pay back, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is the main, um, how can I say? Yes, this is the main stuff that is really very, very different. Because sometimes take a look at European monsters.
Mm.
Okay, some of them, they just go out, they kill everyone without any reason, and that's it.
Mm.
But in
Yeah.
of course, there are also creatures and monsters and everything that have roots. But
Yeah.
you can also find something that doesn't. In Japan, there are always roots. There is always history.
It's really interesting, isn't it? And there's a thing about foxes in Japanese myths and women becoming foxes. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very because I remember on BBC Radio 4 over here there was a really fascinating short story about a European couple in somewhere like, it wasn't necessarily Weybridge, but it's somewhere like Weybridge,
Okay.
where it happens to the wife, and the wife, and it's kind of told from the husband's point of view about this mysterious thing and his reaction to the fact that his wife is becoming a fox. And just completely, it's absolutely fascinating. It's really, really interesting short story.
Such a surprise. Yes.
Yeah.
My wife became a fox.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
How
It's
should I
very,
divorce?
yeah. It's not like the wife can go and give evidence or anything like that,
Right. Yeah.
or
That's the
that
main
anyone's,
issue.
yeah, or anyone's actually going to believe you about things like that. So let's come on to She. You talked about the difficulty of filming and so on, but what is the story? What does the word She stand for? What's the translation of that word?
Because in Japanese language, mm, there are several alphabets. There is
Yeah.
hiragana, katakana, and of course there are characters. But okay, so if you write "she" in hiragana, like it's written
Yeah.
in the poster,
Yeah.
so it's just a sound "she." So it doesn't have a particular meaning as long as you don't put a character. If you put a character, it will be a specific meaning.
I
So
see.
in case of "she," this is this sign, yes, hiragana
Yeah.
sign. So you can, when you hear it, it can be death, it can be number 4, or it can be poetry. And all of those meanings, I think they perfectly fit in that short.
Wow. That's extra. I think I took something like 4 or 5 lessons in Japanese a few years ago, before I had to start their evening classes, and then I had to go and
Oh,
work
did
late.
you?
Yeah, yeah. I find it a fascinating. I've always been interested in Japan and Japanese and so on, through a form of Buddhism, Nichiren Buddhism, um, and the Soka Gakkai, and I do find it absolutely fascinating. You have different alphabets. Not only that, you have lots of different counting systems dependent on what you're counting.
Yes, that's
Uh,
correct.
yeah,
It
yeah,
depends if it's like long stuff or animals or something like, oh, everything is different. That's very confusing.
yeah. How you speak Japanese? You've lived there for 6 years. I presume you speak Japanese.
I do, yeah. I do speak Japanese.
How long did it take? How long did it take you to learn?
When I came here, I started going to Japanese courses
Hmm.
because without that, of course, Japan is a country where it's difficult to survive without Japanese language. It's not like, in Sweden, for example. Okay, do you speak English? Of course I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
problem. Everybody speaks English, so it's really not a problem. Here, it is a problem. So you have to speak Japanese if you live here.
Right.
Yeah, and when I came here, and it doesn't matter what, they have tests before putting you to group. But I told
Right.
them, I'm zero. I know nothing. I do not know even one word except for konnichiwa and sushi. That's it. No, but come on. Rules are rules, because in Japan, rules are rules. If you have to be through that test, you will be through that test. Doesn't matter what. And okay, so they keep showing me pictures. What is this? Cat. Neko. Neko desu. Okay, how can I say if I don't understand? You should say wakarimasen. So I was wakarimasen, wakarimasen, and they were like, okay, what is this? Horse. Don't speak English. Uma desu. So I told you I'm zero. Please stop torturing me. and of course, as was expected, predicted, I got to the lowest level group, and their system, they teach Japanese in Japanese.
Right.
It doesn't matter that you don't understand a word. That was super stressful, because like you are trying to come up, you're trying to express yourself, but there is no words coming out from your mouth, and there is nothing you understand. So probably first 3 months, I was having like permanent headaches. I was eating painkillers like, I don't know, cornflakes. Because, even the logic of the languages is so different. That's the main problem. European languages, they have one order. But Asian languages, it's totally different. So it takes time to get used. But now, now I can say I'm pretty much fluent. But it took me a lot, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's we've got a question come in from Don. He says, with She, what was the main inspiration for the story? Was there a trigger or an aha moment that sparked the idea?
The main inspiration, the main influence. I wanted to create death, but in a new form, in a new shape.
Right.
So if you take a look at the death in She, so you will see that it's wearing kimono, traditional Japanese kimono, but at the same time it's wearing like a hoodie.
Yep.
Which is very typical for European Green Reaper.
Yes. Yeah.
Plus, there are, of course, some notes of my own original story, not story, but my own original idea. And it's got mixed, and that's what we see now.
Right.
Actually, yeah. But of course, talking about She, everybody says that, okay, I want to see more. That was the idea, to make people want to see more. It's a proof of concept.
Yeah. And is this a proof of concept for the web series we were talking about earlier on, the Japanese legends? A kind of a taster of what you would hope to do in the Japanese legends?
Yes, that will be J-horror-ish, if we can say so.
Yes. This is a concept you messaged me. J-horror, I presume, stands for Japanese horror. Is that right?
Well, it's not Japanese horror because I'm not Japanese, right?
Right. Yeah.
But it's Japanesey horror, let's say so.
Yeah.
Japanese horror. With notes of Japan, yes.
And how much how much manga do you read? How much anime do you watch? How much of that do you think is an influence on your work, or is this because you must see it in Japan, I presume?
Surprisingly, I Of course, I read manga and I
Mm,
watch animation, but I'm a huge film fan.
right,
I watch films. I'm not
right,
so big. I'm not so big fan of manga. I like it
right,
sometimes, but in some reason, this doesn't amuse me a lot.
right.
So I don't go to manga cafes, and I don't spend tons of hours over there. And of course, some animation, I like a lot of animation, a lot. But some
Right.
of animation is just, I can't stand it. But that's about everything. You can say about everything like
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just because you're living there is not going to absolutely guarantee that that's going to be your thing. And I think one of the things when we were kind of messaging earlier on, you saying yours is your view of Japanese culture, kind of as an outsider, somebody who's come into the society rather than being born into the society. Does that
Right.
make it, does that, when you're working with your collaborators, when you're working camera, do you sometimes feel that they don't get it because of that, or is it just everyone very much in tune with what it is you're trying to do?
But my cameraman is European.
Right.
So, and sound designer is European as well.
Right.
Um, if we say, I don't feel uncomfortable,
Mm.
let's say so. Sometimes there are points of misunderstanding, but still, it's all, you can fix it.
Yeah.
You can manage it. It's not so difficult because still, it doesn't matter where you're from, people are people.
Hmm.
Yeah, mentality is different, of course, you can't avoid it. But there are always keys to understand each other. I believe so.
Right. Right. Yeah, I was interesting. And how big a crew do you normally, how big a crew did you work on with Call My Name and She?
Ah, not so many people, of course.
Mm.
Right. It's, yeah. If you can't pay a lot of money,
Mm.
it's better to reduce the amount of
Yeah,
people because I feel horrible when I can't pay as much as people deserve, as much
yeah,
as this particular job is worth
yeah,
to be paid. I feel
yeah,
horrible.
yeah.
So I don't say I make people work for free. No, I don't.
Hmm.
But of course, it's like I like appreciating.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yes, and if the budget is limited, of course, the amount of members is supposed to be limited as well.
Yes, 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 of course. Interesting, yeah, because I think one of the things, they look superb. Both of the films look absolutely superb. How long did it take to make She, once you'd actually got the idea, how long did it take to actually bring that to fruition, to actually being able to put it onto the festival circuit?
Probably, I think a little bit less than 1 year. But
Right,
we were through many obstacles
right,
because it was my first experience working with CGI, and first guys that came on board, I found them, they kind of didn't do their job properly.
right,
So I wanted uh, to replace them, and that's how I lost a lot of money because I
right.
made down payment, but they refused to refund. And then I lost like about, I don't know, about £2,000. But
Gosh.
I had to finish my film, so
Hmm.
I had to find another guys, and I had to pay them as well. So that's why it took much longer than it was planned in the first place.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, both films have done very well. But She, how many awards has it won?
How many? Excuse me.
How many
I can
awards?
awards.
Yeah, how
Okay.
many awards?
How many awards? Maybe around 15 or something.
Right. It's yeah, and I can absolutely see why. So, it's interesting. I think CG. We're talking about CGI. before. It is just very expensive. It's probably more expensive in many cases than practical effects.
Absolutely.
But it's, you know, something you just absolutely need it to get the final look that you're wanting. So moving on to Japanese, coming back to Japanese legends again, how long is this just going to be a series of short films, or?
Yes, there's going to be a series of short films.
Okay.
And every episode I'm planning just about 5 minutes or something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So people will not get bored.
It's I can understand that.
And I won't move under the bridge, which is
Right.
an important part, right? Because I'm gonna be broke if I make like 1 hour and a half episode every month with my own money. Yeah, in Japan you've heard already, right?
Yes, absolutely. So how many of these episodes are you hoping to do, and how regularly do you think you'd be able to create them and get them out for people?
Of course, my wish and the best case scenario is to release 1 episode per month.
Right.
But that kind of schedule must be tough.
Yeah.
But still, we will try our best, because I have a good crew. Some people are here, some people are in Europe. My cameraman, Dmitry, who shot Call My Name and She, he lives in Moscow now. And unfortunately, of course, he can't come here every month because it's a faraway place and it's very expensive.
Yeah.
So I managed to find another director of photography. So we're going to work together and collaborate. But Dmitry in Moscow, he will be editing. So it's like, the material will be all around the place. And of course, I have some people from Britain, sound designer. They will take care of everything.
Oh, interesting. So it's going to be very much an international production in that case.
It's always been like this. To shoot She, I actually paid tickets from Europe so that the guys could come.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's real commitment.
Because for that time being, I couldn't find a DP that I wanted to work with. So I wasn't just lucky enough. I couldn't find a guy. And I wanted to work with Dmitry. So if you want to work with someone, you have to pay. Yes.
Yeah. The questions come in from Don again. We actually do have more viewers than just Don and Hiro. Do you have any future plans for a feature film? The overall feel of She, I honestly think you could pull off one heck of a feature. So are there any plans for a feature film?
Of course, that was the plan in the first place, originally. Right. So, as I already mentioned, it's a proof of concept. Right. So hopefully one day it will become a feature. Just a matter of time. Sooner or later, we will see.
Right. And would you? I mean, it's kind of interesting that you've got do a web series. Would you think of also bringing the different elements of the web series, the different legends, bringing those into possibly an anthology or something?
Yes, of course, yes. You're reading my thoughts.
It seems like the most sensible thing to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
We're at the kind of coming up for the end of our time together. There is one question that came in from Amanda. I'd like to ask you. You mentioned some advice about doing something original, but what do you think is the best advice you've been given in regards to your film career?
Best advice. There are so many advices around, but you have to stick with your own thoughts. Yeah. I believe that I can make things right. I
Okay.
believe in myself. Maybe it sounds a little bit arrogant. I believe that it doesn't. But anyway, I believe
Right.
in myself and I believe in my taste. That's what I rely on.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. So it's just having that confidence and belief in your vision as to what it's going to, you have this idea in your mind, this is what you rely on in terms of how the film looks and the editing and the pacing and so on. This is all, you have that belief in yourself. Is that right?
That's correct. And of course, number one advice, don't give up. Everybody
Right.
knows it. Because unfortunately, a lot of talented people, they try. And on some point, it's just like, okay, films don't work.
Right.
I will change my job. So it's very
Right.
important not to feel like you want to give up.
Right.
So maybe you're already so close. So yeah, let's just don't give up.
Okay. Okay. That makes
And
perfect
keep
sense to me.
making films. Yeah.
That will add, I'm just, as I say, having just made in the post-production of my first short film, I understand this, and it's kind of like, okay, just keep on going, but it's taking so long. You just have to keep on going. As you say, if it took a year to actually get She absolutely to the way that you wanted it to be.
It does, but it's so, very, like, you're so satisfied when you see the final result. So it's the most exciting thing ever.
It's completely and utterly nerve-wracking as well. I was talking to a festival promoter the other day and said, I'd love to see your film, almost certainly see it, and we'll almost certainly screen it, as long as it's not shit, we'll screen it. And I'm going, oh no, if he rejects it now, I am just going to be so devastated. Knowing that, it's kind of like, no. But it's like, oh no, that just sent me in, one of the normal tailspins of I think anybody who watches the show and any creator knows this, that you just have these moments where you just think, I have to be insane for thinking that I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to get there.
Right.
I think it is just part of being a creator. That's kind of the cost of being a creator. You have to deal with these absolute
You
moments.
have to sacrifice. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. You have to sometimes it seems you have to sacrifice common sense and think, what the hell am I doing? But yeah, worth it in the end. And I'm absolutely. Pablo, this has been absolutely fascinating. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much for inviting me and having me here. Yeah. I was so excited. Yeah. And time flies so fast. Because I thought we've been talking about half an hour, but it's already an hour. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, no, it's been absolutely fascinating. This is a whole new world of filmmaking as far as I'm concerned. And you bring something, and it's been really interesting to see how many Japanese people have been supporting and getting interesting, including here and fans. It's just absolutely lovely that we can speak so far away. Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Chattering with Nicholas Vince, and I've been chattering with Pablo Absento. Make sure you check out her YouTube channel, have a look at Call My Name, and she particularly is absolutely chilling. It's an amazing piece of work. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you very much indeed for joining me, Pablo.
Thank you so much, Nick. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully see you someday in person.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we'll get together at a convention or something. Okay, cheerio.
Yeah, right.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.